Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Moss, the official podcast of Somos Moss NM, and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United and the New Mexico Runners. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. Thank you guys for joining us here on our social media platforms, as you do each and every Tuesday night now that we are back into regular season action. Joining me this evening, we have the one, the only, Jacob Carroll. Jacob, how are you doing? I know you said you weren't feeling too well. You haven't sounded great. But how are you feeling? And are you up for the challenge of watching United open their season this weekend?
I'm feeling all right. Got a little. Okay. I think it's mostly allergies. The juniper trees over here have been basically exploding with pollen and the wind and stuff. So that typically always gets to me. March and like November ish, typically always allergy issues. So we'll struggle through it today. Shouldn't be too bad, hopefully. And come Saturday, I will, even if I'm curled up in bed and watching it while I blow my nose every 5 seconds, I am definitely ready.
All right. Yeah, I'm ready as well. It's, it'll be nice to finally see the black and yellow back on the pitch. Harry, appreciate you being here. Robert, appreciate you as well. Earl is not with us tonight, as you can see. Earl had a root canal today. So, Earl gave us some early indications that he might be here, but we insisted that he take the night off because neither of us would be here if that happened. So perfectly understandable. We're going to give Earl a night off, let him rest and recuperate to come back later this week with more content for you guys. But
I was tempted to have him come on just so we get drugged up Earl, because sober Earl is entertaining enough, I thought. But then I thought about it. I was like, I don't know. Drugged Earl might be a little too over the top. So hopefully he's feeling better soon. I'm relatively sure he's asleep or still in a drug coma, because he texted us that this morning, and then nobody has heard from him since. So hopefully he's doing all right, and will be back with us next week for sure.
Yeah, we typically typically hear from him throughout the day, but just not a word. So we assume he is, resting, and so we'll get him back. And we do want to go ahead and announce that we will be doing content Saturday night after the game, since it is an away match. We will pop on live 30 minutes after the game ends Saturday evening and talk about the breakdown. New thing we're doing this season for the away matches. We will be going live here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter to break down the matches.
It won't be a full-size show. It'll be, maybe 20, 30 minutes, depending on how exciting the game was, just kind of breaking that down, giving you guys instant reactions to it. And then we'll be back, of course, on Tuesdays with the full-blown show still.
Yeah. So we'll do something for the home games as well. We do have the ability to record down at the stadium, which we did a few times last year. We're going to be more consistent with that going forward. We've got dongles and cords and all things that we need so that Jacob can call in while he is away at the police academy. So we'll be able to get Jacob's calls. We'll be able to get Earl if he's not in town as well. And for those of you guys who do have our numbers, you can pop on and talk with us as well if you so wish. So we are changing a few things this season. We're looking forward to it. Going to be a little bit more content from us. So it's going to be a fun year. Let's just get right into it. Normally I'd have a burning question, but we do have a lot to get to tonight. I do want to start with the New Mexico Runners. The Runners had a doubleheader over the weekend, and unfortunately they dropped both matches to extend their losing streak to 8 matches. After such a promising start, the season's kind of circled the drain a bit. They do have one home match remaining this coming weekend out of the Rio Rancho Event Center. Playoffs are out of reach for the Runners this year, unfortunately. And the news came down today. I believe it might have been posted on Facebook yesterday and Twitter. Nick Familetta, assistant coach, is having his second round of ACL reconstructive surgery. So best wishes to Nick. Hopefully he goes well. Hopefully surgery goes well. He's able to recover and get back out there before too long. So I got to say, it's been a bit of a disappointing season for the Runners in terms of results. The team looked great really early on in the season, and kind of the injury bug bit, and dealing with that and illness and and just a lot of tough losses for the team this year. So I know Andres will be looking forward to next season and getting things going again next winter. So we appreciate Andres and the runners for giving us the opportunities to come out and cover them this year and talk to Andres and coach throughout the season. So unfortunately, we couldn't make it out as much as we would have liked this year, but we will continue our runners coverage, going forward. So again, one final match this Saturday out of the Rio Rancho Event Center. I believe it's at 5:05 kickoff. So get out there, support the runners, support the MASL and MASL2. There's a lot going on. It's a fun league to watch, and everyone should be keeping an eye on that for the future. So you're muted. You're still muted.
Okay, we're there.
Okay.
Had to cough and forgot to unmute. You mentioned a disappointing season, obviously, especially after that start. I think there is a bright spot. I'm going to try not to butcher his name, but Murshad Ahmadi has performed really well. I haven't watched most of the games, the ones that are streamed, but catch the highlights, especially on Twitter. And so I went to his stats just to see exactly how good of a year he has, and he put up 35 goals through 11 matches. That's over 3 per match. That's pretty darn good, and he also added 6 assists there. So he has definitely been a bright spot there. Hopefully next year we can build off of the strong start that we had, or maybe we can get a couple more matches in the books here, and hopefully maybe try to build off something, maybe get one more win here and then build off of that for next year. But I'm hoping maybe we can get Andres on for a little postseason wrap up, see what his thoughts were, what kind of went wrong, and what we can do to build off of it. And so yeah, I'm half tempted to try to go to this game Saturday, but probably not going to make it. So again, hopefully next year. I know living this far away is kind of hard on it, but hopefully we bounce back and we can get Coach Steve and Andres on the pod sometime to talk about this season that was.
Yeah, it'd be good to have him on. And Earl gave me a call yesterday. He said he is working on something with Murshad. So we'll have an interview with him that we can post up here, hopefully later this week. I don't know when exactly they're going to be taking, or he's going to do that. So we will have something with Murshad here as well before too long. So, but yeah, you mentioned Murshad. Murshad had a tremendous start of the season. He's really done well all season long. He's been probably one of the brightest spots for the Runners this year. So,
for sure.
Really glad to see him, and I know he was excited to be back out there and be working with the guys all season long. So, yeah, I mean, we'll get Andres on. We'll hopefully talk to Coach Steve here in the off season, and see what the plans are going forward, and like you said, talk to them about the season and looking back, and talk about some of the highlights that they had throughout the year.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up. I really like to get where Murshad ranks in the league. But the website's a little funny, so I'm trying to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, the MASL2 website is not the greatest.
So we'll skip that. Maybe I'll have that stat for you next week after the season's over. I'll find it before the match and actually try to do my job of prepping a little bit better. But yeah, so good luck to the Runners in the last match on Saturday, and hopefully we can turn it around and have a good year next year. And I'd be curious to see. I don't have attendance numbers, but I'm hoping that people are still showing up and having a good time there, even if in a down year.
Yeah, every time I've been out, the attendance has always been pretty solid. I mean, obviously they're not going to draw the numbers that you would being New Mexico United or some of the other teams. But no, I mean, there's usually a few hundred folks in attendance at each match that I've been at. I don't know what their season high is. I'd like to talk to Andres and see what those numbers are like.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it'd be interesting to see, given the fact that they play out at the event center and where it is in relation to, Albuquerque proper. So, because it is a bit of a drive, but it's absolutely worth it. And, the Gladiator season is about to kick off as well. So, the event center is going to continue to be busy throughout the year. So if you haven't seen the runners or haven't seen the Gladiators, get out there and watch the Gladiators play too, man. Like that's a lot of fun as well.
While we're talking about other professional, semi-professional sports teams, I believe the Ice Wolves are still going on.
Yes,
right now too, and they play over at Outpost over there on Tramway. So get out and support them too.
Yeah, that's a bit of a drive as well. But yeah, they've got. Let's see. I know they have 2 games next weekend. They've got 2 over the 7th and 8th, and then 2 over the 14th and 15th of April. And I believe that will be it for their season as well. Yeah. So, yeah, support local sports, man. I mean, the Ice Wolves, the Runners, the New Mexico United, Albuquerque FC if they come back. New Mexico United Women's Club. Whenever that comes out, just get out, support them. Support the local clubs and. It really does make a huge difference. Like if you watch, what Andres and the ownership of the Runners do, they spend a lot of time, working in and around the community and working with different folks and setting up, charity nights and community nights and things like that. So really excited to see, the growth of these teams in around the metro area. When do the NM Lights play next?
I ignore Robert when he doesn't make sense. So,
all right.
Said Jacob is Tackleberry, and I don't know what that is either. So,
yeah,
I just ignored him. I'm pretty good at ignoring Robert.
All right, so we'll move right along to New Mexico United. Obviously, New Mexico United opens their season this coming weekend with a match against the Miami FC on Saturday evening. Before we get to that, though, we do have 2 brand new signings for New Mexico United. The first came a few days ago in the form of defensive midfielder Michael Wyparlo out of the he's a Polish American midfielder, came out of the Ekstraklasa, Poland's first division. I've been working on that.
I'm sure you have.
I've been working on that. We don't really know a whole lot about him. There's not a lot out there in places such as Transfer Market or Soccer Way, things like that. But he's a guy who made his debut with the first team coming out of their academy in Poland's top division, getting 24 minutes here in his initial season. He is listed as a defensive midfielder. So we've been talking about, a little bit of help on the defensive side of things. I think this is he's one of those guys that can help. I guess he has been playing in the preseason. This is a straight transfer from the club. Obviously no word on how much in terms of a transfer fee, but excited to have Michael in the club. I know you and I both tried to look this guy up, and we didn't find anything more than I could.
No, not really. I mean, he's a young guy. He's 19. I don't know if you mentioned his age or not. 6'3" defensive midfielder. Transfer Market has him as also a center back, but it's Transfer Market, so who really knows? Especially with somebody with this limited of info available out there. I don't think Transfer Market really does a good job of tracking everything there. So he's American and Polish. What's the word I'm looking for? See, this is when the sickness is like, you don't think it's going to matter, and then it sneaks up on you, and it's like, hey, oh, yeah, that word that is not going to be there. I was trying to think of a permission slip earlier, and took forever for me to get there. But anyways, he played a little bit in the preseason match that I was there. Admittedly, I'm not very good at watching defensive midfielders and how good they play, especially from field level. They kind of just get lost there. But from everything that I've heard, he's been really good this preseason and has impressed several people around the club. And that's obviously apparent when they go out and get a get a trunk contract done for him and a transfer done for him, and he's now on the first team, which adds to the defensive midfield help that we kind of had talked about was a little thin. And then in the other position that we've talked about being a little thin, center back, Kyle Colonna, 4 or 5 year man from San Diego State, comes in at center back. He is also 6'3" ish. I will tell you, he impressed the heck out of me in the preseason match that I was able to attend, and basically from that moment on, I kind of knew he was gonna be signed with how thin we are back there at center back. He was a co-captain the last 2 years there at San Diego State, and just comes on and looks like he's going to be a solid presence, younger guy. And I'm really looking forward to see what he can do with this team and in this league. And I think he's going to end up getting minutes because of how thin we are there at center back.
Yeah, he's the guy that I looked him up before the season when we first saw him announced on one of the preseason rosters.
Yeah.
Impressive career at San Diego State. And I'm going to pull those up here real quick. Before I do that, Subliminal Man, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you being here. But yeah, Kyle, he had quite a career for San Diego State. So really looking forward to seeing what he can do. He's looked impressive so far. And he brings height, something that we desperately needed.
Yep.
Between Timothy Zali, I mean, we got some height now.
Even Waiparlo is 6'3" as well. So there's definitely some height there. Colonna. So Zali and Waiparlo both seem to be very slight as far as their frame is concerned. They're string beans. Colonna definitely has a little more size to him, a little more strength, it looks like. And so I think he'll be able to compete in this league pretty much from the jump. And I'm really looking forward to that. Real quick, before you mention the stats from him, Robert said the Lights have similar jerseys as United. And I'm sorry, but I don't see that at all, my friend. So keep smoking what you're smoking over there in San Antonio, and leave the jokes to Harry or Earl, and that'd be nice.
At least we can say this for Vegas and their kits. They're not Rochester's.
I actually really like Vegas's kits.
Yeah,
I think they're pretty sick. Their video was a little lacking, but I understand budget and stuff like that. So it was kind of just like, oh, here's two of our players in front of the Bellagio fountain. I think it was a Bellagio fountain.
I'm sorry. I thought you misspoke for just a second and meant the Phoenix Rising reveal kit.
Oh no, that was also bad. And what's sad is that they obviously like put thought and time and a little bit of money into that, and it was still very bad. And so I don't know what happened there. I actually kind of like Phoenix's kits to an extent, but that wasn't. I didn't like go over the top there.
Okay.
Aesthetically, looking at them, aside from the Carvana logo, because I hate the Carvana logo on those kits. That's the only thing about soccer kits is, man, you can have the nicest design, but if you have a terrible looking front of kit sponsor, I do not like it. Like Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I like Tampa Bay's kits, but then the sponsor is just big block letters that says Dex on it, and it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, the kits are very hit or miss, and obviously we see some bad kits every year. We see some great kits every year, and there have been some really good ones this year. But yeah, I think we can, and I think we're a little bit biased, towards ours. Did you make it to the Black and Yellow Bash the other night?
Oh, it's not. It's the 25th.
25. Okay, I thought it was the other night for some reason.
No. The Black and Yellow scrimmage was Saturday.
Yeah.
But the Black and Yellow Bash is on the 25th. And as me, in fact, right before the pod, me and Allie were talking about it. Earl's in the chat.
Yeah.
Me and Allie were talking about it, and we are going to try to go. I'm off that day, so we are going to try to go, but we'll have to see what exactly or what transpires from there and go from there. But I do want to try to make it.
Worst kit ever, in your opinion, that Earl wants
for
to
USL?
He just has worst kid ever.
I'm gonna go USL, and we'll keep it USL specific. Let's see.
Liverpool. Oh wait, sorry.
Let's see. Damn, putting us on the spot, Earl. I know that there was some really bad ones out there a couple years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm drawing like some of the Vegas kits. Not last year's. Last year's Vegas kits were nice, but the year before I did not like them. We'll research.
Oh, who was that had the black on black? Was that San Antonio that had the black on black?
Yeah,
That was
had the black on
look.
black.
I have a lot of love for the San Antonio kits. I think they usually do a great job with them, but like those black on black were terrible.
I have a hard time because the quick side tangent. I was in town Saturday for the state basketball championship for 1A, where the Fort Sumner Foxes beat Magdalena, ending Magdalena's 46-game winning streak. But they played in black jerseys, and I think the boys has white letter or white numbers, but the girls a couple days earlier I was watching on streaming. I was streaming it, and they had black letters with just an orange outline, and it was rough. It was real bad. So yeah, that's not a good look, especially if you're an announcer trying to figure out what the hell's going on. It just it's rough. So those were pretty bad. I didn't mind the look of them, except for the fact that you couldn't read the letters from any kind of distance away. But I'll definitely look this. I'm a kit connoisseur, or I love looking at kits. So I'll have to look that up and come back with a solid answer. Maybe I'll do a little video on it and go from there.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Like if you mess up on your kits, like you got to deal with that for an entire season.
Yeah,
Well,
they didn't. They fixed it. They changed it after the first match because everybody complained about it.
Yeah, it's just bad kits are just bad. Like, but yeah, when you've got an issue like where it's impossible to read the numbers, players, if you've got a bad kit, you've got a bad logo design, whatever. I mean, there's some things that just don't fly at all. But looking at all the kits, and there's some really great websites out there if you want to pick up some off the wall kits or for kits from other leagues. There's some really great websites out there to do that.
Real quick, I had forgot to put the black and yellow scrimmage in the rundown. I didn't watch it. Obviously, I didn't make it out there. Subliminal Man says that it was super windy, which
Saturday was miserable.
Yeah, we know both. We've had some crazy wind lately, but Saturday was pretty bad. It was obviously just United players versus United players. It was split up. I think they kind of tried to do it a little bit evenly, but then if you look at the teams, I mean, it was pretty stacked for yellow. Tambacas, Yearwood, Hamilton, Moreno, Moir, Weehan, Seymour, Hurst, Kelowna, Swartz, and Portillo. And they came out with a 3-1 win. You had a brace by Hurst. And then I believe Moreno added the third. And so not a lot we're going to take away from that. It was kind of more of a fun thing there, but it does gear us up for this week. Like Seth said earlier, going up against the Miami FC.
Yeah, the Miami FC is coming off it's an opening draw against FC Tulsa at the weekend.
Shout out to Rashid Tete, who did make his first appearance for Tulsa just days after being announced as signing with Tulsa, much to the dismay of, I think, every member of this podcast and most members of New Mexico United fans. Just very sad, but he did come on in the 85th minute or something like that and got some run with him. And so shout out to him. I'm going to miss him.
Yeah, we definitely will. I mean, obviously not a lot of time for him. I think he can be a difference maker for Tulsa. But you got to give him time. You got to give him the time to get in there and really show what he can do. I mean, did you watch this match at all on Saturday?
I didn't. Like I said, I was at the pit for that championship game, and then I drove home. after the game, so I didn't get home till almost midnight. I hadn't had a chance to look. It seemed like it was a pretty even match, and I do try to plan on going back and rewatching it between now and when we play them to kind of look. I mean, I recognize some names from the Miami roster, but not exactly sure what to expect from them.
Yeah, I don't know either. Miami's got, I like Robert here in the chat said Miami FC has talent but no fans. Agree on both parts. I mean, they really do. You look at the roster that they've got. They've got some guys that I feel like can be dangerous, but I really didn't. And what I saw this match on Saturday, I really didn't see a lot. There really wasn't anything there that like caught my eye. Obviously, they have Repetto. Repetto is a guy that I think could be a difference maker for them. But I just don't know. I just don't know.
Looking at their roster, to me, Repetto is like a nice additional piece. But when you have Kyle Murphy and Christian Sorto, who we saw Christian several times when he played for RGV, not last year, but the year before. He was there one of the years that we played RGV like 30 times. So we saw a lot of him. We know kind of what he can do. But then Kyle Murphy is a guy that joined them last year, had a decent season, 10 goals and 33 appearances, but came off of a 20-goal season with Memphis the year before. And so we know he's got some talent and can definitely put the ball in the back of the net. And so, like you said, they definitely have some offensive pieces that seem like they should be able to generate some. And I wanted to look it up. Gameflow on Twitter, who I reference quite a bit. I know it's not the be all end all of stats, but they did have Miami definitely outpacing Tulsa in the XG category. And I think that is that you said you watched it. Is that
bits and pieces?
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see the whole thing.
So it'll be interesting. I definitely am curious. I know the guys over at the USL show had that on their prediction, picked that game for their pick'em contest thing that they do. And I know 4 of the 7 had Miami, 2 of them had us, and then 1 had a draw. So I know they impressed. I believe Morrissey even had them jump up in his power rankings a little bit, even though it was a draw. So I think they definitely impressed some people that watched that game. But we'll have to see. I think they're kind of right there in the East, like in the same boat as we are in the West. So it should be a pretty fun match, pretty even match. The fact that we're having to go to the East Coast obviously is a challenging way to start the season. But having been able to sit at home, rest another week, get another week to prepare, watch Miami, get some film on Miami, I think that'll bode well for us. And I'm excited to watch the season opener, but I think Miami will be a good test for us to begin the year and kind of see where we're at and what we need to improve on and if we can come out swinging.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good first weekend matchup for us. Again, it'll be interesting to see because we haven't really seen the A squad. I don't think like a full A squad. Yeah, for us. I think we've been close. I think we've seen exactly what he might throw out on Saturday. But
I think Team Yellow from this past weekend is pretty close.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think Kelowna probably starts off on the bench, but other than that, it's like, okay, well, we've got most of the starters on that team. And actually, who knows? I mean, with our depth or lack thereof at center back, maybe Kelowna is going to step in and start week 1 for us and have Seymour in defensive mid or something. Who knows? But I'm very excited to see, from a leaving Miami out of the equation, just seeing who we start, what kind of squad rotation we have. We've talked about Prince's substitution patterns last year, obviously, see what we got going on there. And then see like formation and tactic wise, kind of what we decided to do to start the game or to start the season, and if we adjust from there. I fully expect a 4 at the back system to start, but we'll have to see if that's actually what it is, or if we switch it up and go with a 3 at the back or even a 5 at the back. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, I think Saturday is going to be, man, it's going to be a lot about us for me in terms of what I'm watching and what I want to see compared to watching, Miami. So like I want to see if Alex makes the 18 on Saturday. I think that could be really interesting. Yeah.
I will bet a substantial amount of money that he does. I don't think he starts, but I bet he's in the 18.
I think so. I mean, I really want to see what we can do because really we haven't played like an A side in any of these preseason matches. We played, again, I know everyone's looking at talent, evaluating who they have and what they're going to do with their rosters, and
I think the closest that we saw was the Colorado Springs match.
Yeah,
and that ended 0-0. But that's all preseason. I would love to draw some conclusions from the offense in the preseason. I would love to see that transfer over, but at the end of the day, it's preseason, and you kind of have to take everything with a grain of salt. So I'm excited to see if we can build on that offensive performance that we had this preseason, the Colorado game notwithstanding, and go from there. But like you said, I'm definitely going to be watching what we do, how we try to attack Miami. And this game for me isn't so much of a let's look at Miami and see what we need to do to beat them. It's just let's see what we start the season doing and go from there.
Yeah, exactly. With the limited time that we've seen the guys out there, the limited opportunities that we've had to even get out to even the preseason matches, like there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of things that I want to see. I want to see us against an A side. I want to see what we do, for when these guys are, going a full 60, 70, 90 minutes. Because I know that they've been pretty liberal with their subs throughout the preseason. So there's always going to be those questions going into the season and figuring out who can give you the most minutes, who's gonna be able to go, those extra minutes, especially here, early season to give you time, or how to use those subs so you keep people fresh throughout the season. There's so many questions. There's so many things that I want to see. I want to see Hurst up top. I want to see how well we deliver the ball. I want to see how well we work in transition, getting that ball out of the back. I think we're going to be in a back 4. That's what I think, but I don't know. I don't know what Zach is going to do with this side.
I'm real curious because we've seen the offense perform fairly well in the preseason. Obviously, I said that doesn't necessarily translate, but one thing we haven't been able to watch is the defense and how well they perform, and I'm very interested to see how we can contain guys like Repetto and guys like Murphy and Sorto and whoever else they throw out there. Looking at their roster, I don't recognize a whole lot of the midfield names, and the back line, it's really just Paco Craig, who's been there. This is going to be his 3rd season. I believe he's one of their captains. And so the back line, I think, could be vulnerable with our attacking talent. And so I'm looking forward to it for sure. And the fact that it's at 5:00, so I don't have to wait till 8:30 when we play these West Coast teams. That's nice. I'll be able to watch it. We'll finish about 7. We'll hop on here about 7:30 or shortly after that, because I do put the kids to bed about that time. So we'll have to see exactly when I can get over here. But I'm thinking 30 minutes is going to be good, and we can hop on. Hopefully we're talking about 3 points and a clean sheet would be nice. And then go on to match week 2.
Yeah, it's starting the season with a result on the road is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with it being almost a month until we're home.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get some momentum going early. Got to see, I definitely want to see what these guys can do. I want to see how well we handle this extended road trip to start the season. Because really we've got 3 games, and then we come back and we've got let me double check my calendar here, but I want to say it's 3 games, and then we have Open Cup, and then we have our first home game. So yeah, we got 1, 2,
We do have a week off next week, though.
I apologize. Yeah, we do have next week off. So three road games. Then we're back for the Open Cup. And another one on the road. No, I'm sorry. Two away games. Home for the Open Cup. Another home game. Another game away before we get our home championship season opener. So, yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't know what we're going to see in that Open Cup match, since we're either playing Northern Colorado or UDSA. So, Rachel, appreciate you being in the chat. Hope you are doing well. You're right. We have done well on the road historically. I think that's a great point to bring up.
I will say the only thing about that is that if you look at our road record, it is somewhat like our overall road record. It is somewhat skewed by 2020 when we were on the road every match, and that was probably our best year statistically. Last year was really kind of not the case. I mean, we did okay, but it wasn't necessarily lights out. There was really no pun intended there. I don't know why I said it that way. We were 7-3-7 on the road, so that's actually better than I was expecting. So yeah, Rachel's right. I'm wrong. That's how it usually goes. Thanks, Rachel, for correcting me there. But it felt like last year wasn't as good, but 7 wins on the road in a season isn't bad. I'll definitely take that. So hopefully, like John says, we get it started on the right foot. Also, another soccer pun in there. I don't think he meant to do that, but I like it anyways. And I'm really just. It's been like the off seasons aren't that long, and they seem to go by fast. But then week 1 comes around, and I'm like, oh man, it's been so long. I can't wait. Even though it doesn't, because the holidays are all through the off season, so holidays go by like that, and then preseason's here right before you know it after the holidays, and so, but to finally see a game that counts, that if we get 3 points, like Zach said in the preseason match that we played, David mentioned how we hadn't lost and in the preseason, and if it really mattered, and of course, coach had the coach answer of no, doesn't matter at all. Now, if they counted towards 3 points or for 3 points, then they'd matter, and this one does. So this one is an important one, and I think if we want to have a strong season, especially opening on the road for these first 3, as far as USL championship is concerned, it's important to get at least a point out of this match.
Yeah, I know. I don't disagree with you. Strong start is something that we've typically done. In our history, we've always had a decent start to our seasons. But yeah, I mean this stretch here is going to be real important. I'm honestly like I know Open Cup is there. I'm not expecting a whole lot. I'm really like I'll be there obviously, and I'll obviously be rooting for United, covering the club, covering that match. But like it's these first 3 away matches. That's what I care about more than anything. Because I'm not even like I said, I'm not even really thinking about that Open Cup match. Like
I think we're deep enough that we could definitely have some solid squad rotation, still take care of business in the Open Cup, and then put our A squads out for the Saturday matches in the USL Championship. And honestly, I loved our Open Cup run in 2019. I think this year people will be disappointed if we don't perform in the USL Championship. So even if that first match we play Northern Colorado and they squeak one by us, which I think Northern Colorado is perfectly capable of doing in the right circumstances, if that's who we end up playing. And I think that if that were to happen, I would be bummed, obviously, because you don't want to lose. I don't want to lose ever. But at the same time, I think in the long run, it could have some beneficial side effects when it comes to the actual championship season.
Yeah, a lot of things to think about, a lot of things to look forward to. Do you want to go do it? Do you want to do our predictions now, or do you want to wait until the end of the show?
No, let's do them now.
Do them now. All right. So,
working on the brain.
New Mexico United match day 1, week 2 of the USL Championship season. New Mexico United and the Miami FC. I do apologize. Not really. Looking at this match, I mean, Jacob, who do you have in this one? What's your prediction on the score?
I'm gonna turn over a new leaf, Seth.
Okay.
Gonna turn over a new leaf.
Last year, you were fairly down on a lot of things.
Oh no, I always predicted us to win. Most of the time, I predicted us 4-0.
Okay.
So I'm gonna flip over a pessimistic leaf just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit, and I'm gonna go 2-2.
2-2.
I think the offense continues to be strong, and we get a good performance out of Hurst and Santi and the rest of the front line there. But we give up a couple goals, and I'm hoping that I don't think it's going to be like we have a 2-1 lead and we give it up late. I think it might be the opposite, or it might be like 2-2 halfway through the second, and both teams just kind of hang on and play it out and look for the draw. So I'm going to go 2-2. And hope that I'm wrong in the positive sense.
I could see that happening. I could see a 2-2 draw. But here's why you're wrong. I feel like we have created almost a four-headed monster in the attacking half of the field.
Is that a shot at me? We're stooping that low. That low, Seth.
I wouldn't say I'm stooping. I mean, you're a little bit taller than I am.
That's
so.
I think my forehead's taller than you, to be fair. So
it just might be, Earl's not here, so we can make the forehead jokes tonight. Yeah.
Well, technically you can make them when he's here.
I could, but
he just can't make them. Well, honestly, he doesn't get the emails anyway, so I don't know why he's still a part of the whole no forehead jokes thing. But hopefully he's passed out by now because he hasn't been in the chat for a while.
Yeah, he has not been. No, I mean, I look at guys like, I see Hurst, I see Santi, I see, Bees, Amondo's been doing well. Brucey's been putting them in from all over the pitch. Like, Alex has been scoring. We've got a lot of guys who are putting goals on the board already. And we've got, we've got a solid defense. I think we do. I think, again, I want to see Kalen. Kalen's someone that I'm going to be watching on Saturday because I want to see if he's finally, back to 100% after the injury from last season. I want to see, how Santi and Greg work up top with the other guys around. Obviously Santi has the history of playing with a number of these guys. So there's going to be some chemistry there. I don't think there's necessarily going to need to be a whole lot of gelling to happen early, which is something we talked about a lot last year. So with the number of guys that we have that can put the ball in, we seem solid defensively. We've got, some height. We've got some talent. I could see this one going 2-0 United.
2-0 United.
Yeah. John over chat, 1-1 draw. Alex, player of the game. Okay.
I like how he threw the player of the game in there. So I'm going to ask you with a 2-0 victory prediction over there.
Mm-hmm.
Who scores and who's the player of the match in your eyes?
All right. Who scores for United on Saturday? I'm going to say Hursty gets one. I think he gets the season opener for us. And I think Wagner, if he's in the 18, I think he comes on. I think he gets a late goal. So to open his account. So I think that's what happens there. And my man of the match is Alex. I think Alex is gonna, he's gonna make some saves. Because no club is going to completely eliminate the attempts on goal. But I think Alex has always had good vision of the field. I think he makes fantastic reads. And I think he does have a standout game tomorrow, or this weekend, I should say, getting the clean sheet in the season opener.
Nice. Now, obviously, with a 2-2 draw prediction, Alex is not going to be my player of the match. I don't think he's going to have a bad game necessarily. I think he's just going to get beat. I will actually look at Hurst. I like the Hurst shout. I think I could see Hurst getting 2 goals and a brace to start the season. He scored in his season debut last season for Phoenix. I think he's just a big time player, and I think he gets both goals and the man of the match for me. John says Wehan free kick is what our goal is.
That's not a bad shout.
So yeah, I think we're all me and John anyways are a little cautious, and you're throwing caution to the wind, thinking a 2-0 win for us on the road at the Miami FC. which, as we've mentioned, is our first game of the season, and it had not, however, was not the first game of the USL season. It's not going to be it's week 2 of the USL season to be exact. And so we had a almost full slate of games. We had us and Colorado Springs not playing this week. Colorado Springs opens their season Wednesday against El Paso.
Mm-hmm.
And
keep an eye on that one.
And so we're obviously we're not a USL championship podcast per se. So we're not going to touch on every single one of these matches. Mainly because we have lives and bedtimes and families and also we can't just watch every match. But I was able to catch some matches here and there. I'm sure you did as well. And then just looking at results, you can kind of be like, "Holy cow, this happened!" So, what were some surprises for you from this last week, in a positive sense?
The first one that stood out to me is the Hartford Monterey Bay match.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this went from 0 to 60 in a hurry. Monterey's opened up the scoring real early on, and then it seemed to settle in for a while, and then there were 3 goals within about a 6-minute period. And that match just exploded into an offensive, firestorm.
Newcomer Alex Dixon for Monterey Bay gets a hat trick there. That could be both a positive surprise and a negative surprise or a disappointment for me there, because I had high hopes for Hartford coming into this season. And that's not to say they're going to fail just because of this one match, but they definitely did not look pretty, especially defensively, going up against a Monterey Bay side that I think we were both somewhat high on. I think we both had them in the playoffs last week when we did our prediction show for the whole USL, but I didn't expect 5 goals to start the season from them going up against, like I said, what I thought was going to be a decent Hartford side. So definitely a surprise there.
Yeah, it was indeed. Hartford brought in some guys, Elvis Amo, Hoppenot. They look primed to really start the season strong. And I mean, you can't be too upset about a 3-goal performance, but when you surrender 5, that's where you kind of look at what happened with Hartford defensively on Saturday, and that Monterey Bay attack was just deadly.
Yeah, and I believe one of those were a penalty, a legit penalty in my eyes. So definitely the defense was at fault there. So 4 goals from the run of play and then giving up a PK. They're going to have some work to do there. Now, going to Monterey Bay, they're an East Coast team traveling all the way to the West. They're playing a game, at kickoff 8:30 here, so 10:30 according to their bodies being from the East Coast. So that could have something to do with it. I'll be excited to see what they look like coming up in match week 2. Going up against somebody. I had it here and then I lost it, but. Where are they? So actually, they come back west again. Not quite as far, but they face Colorado Springs on the weekend, and so that'll be another interesting test, and we'll have to see how they bounce back from that.
Yeah, obviously we have Monterey in week 3, so
yeah,
or actually our 3rd match. So Monterey's gonna be interesting to watch.
And they travel they host Louisville next week, and that'll be the second cross-country trip for Louisville to start the season. So we'll have to see how they react to that after going and beating Orange County last week.
Yeah.
My surprise, if unless you got something else there, because this I thought might be the surprise for everybody, was Loudoun coming in and getting a 3-1 win over Memphis in Memphis. A Loudoun team that many projected to be, at or near the bottom of the Eastern Conference and competing for the wooden spoon, which again still might happen. It's early.
I think Harry had him a little bit higher.
I didn't have them last either.
Yeah.
I had them second to last. I think I had Detroit City last in the East, but they come in, they impress with a 3-1 win over Memphis, which I will say I don't think anybody really saw that coming. And I didn't get to watch any of it. I watched a little bit of highlights. I know Loudoun started off strong, had a 1-goal lead at halftime. We did get a red card from a Memphis player while they were down a goal. and then Loudon was able to tack on a third in stoppage time in the second half to make it look a little more impressive as the final stat line. But they came in, they handled a Memphis team that was second in the East last year, and I think started off on the right foot. And was it 2 seasons ago we had Adam from formerly Too Loud Adams on. We had one of the Adams from Too Loud Adams on, and he was pretty bummed because they hadn't been doing very well. But we have a good start for him, and so we'll have to see if Loudon can build off that. But that was definitely my surprise. And with these surprises, like I said earlier, the flip side of them, you can always talk about a disappointment on the other side, and Memphis definitely could be a disappointment there as far as starting off the season with what should have been a win, or at least close to it, and not getting there.
Yeah, definitely some talking points there. Loudon's going to be interesting to watch. Yeah, we talked about it last week. Like I said, I think Harry had them a little bit higher than we did, and so I mean, maybe it's a sign of things to come for Loudon. Maybe it's a sign, like I said, a letdown for Memphis. But I mean, it's still we're match week 1. Mm-hmm. There's a long, long way to go in the USL Championship season. Looking ahead to week 2, outside of the United match, is there a match that stands out to you that you're gonna want to sit down and watch, or maybe watch on Sunday afternoon after Spurs lose?
Who? I'm just kidding. Yeah, I hadn't looked too closely at match week 2. I know there were a couple. Obviously, we mentioned El Paso, Colorado on Wednesday. We mentioned that Colorado Springs Hartford match coming up. Sunday has a match that I don't care for really either team, but their matches are typically pretty fun, and that's Loyal versus Phoenix Rising. Loyal will be hosting that, coming off a 1-0 win over Detroit City, while Phoenix is coming off a 1-1 draw against Charleston, but in a match that Phoenix offensively, we think of Phoenix always has been this offensive juggernaut, and they were not that. They were anything but that in Charleston over the weekend. So that'll be a fun one, especially if I root against Phoenix, but we're also competing against San Diego, I think, a little more closely than we are Phoenix, in my eyes anyways, for one of those top spots in the West. So a draw here wouldn't hurt my feelings, but I'm definitely going to watch that. And then we talked about Loudon starting off hot. They will host San Antonio FC, who San Antonio is coming off a 3-1 win in their own right. Although 2 probably of the flukiest goals, well, one of the flukiest goal you'll ever see in your life. And then another one that probably can't count on a center back making his debut scoring. Actually, he might not be making his debut. I'm sure the San Antonio fans will hop in the chat here if they're still around and correct me. But 2 kind of fluky goals, and so while it is an impressive win over an Oakland team that's always kind of competing for the playoffs, it'll be nice to see what they can do going to Loudon after Loudon has some momentum of their own coming off of a win like we talked about earlier. The rest of them, you have Monterey Bay coming off a win against Lou City, coming off a win. You have El Paso and Detroit City coming off of losses, both coming off 1-0 losses. Tampa Bay travels to Orange County. Orange County, while being at home, kind of gets screwed these first 2 weeks, having Lou City and then Tampa Bay come into their house. That's a little rough to start. Sacramento going to Charleston. Sacramento beat El Paso, FEP, in week 1, 1-0 off of a Russell Cicerone goal. Their newcomer who came over from Pittsburgh. So I think week 2 actually has a ton of really interesting matchups. You got Tulsa and Birmingham on Friday. So just a real interesting week. And with me being off and not having any other plans on Saturday, it's definitely going to be a Saturday of soccer, definitely more than last Saturday was. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it's it's shaping up to a really good week too. You touched on a lot of different matches that are coming up. I'm actually looking forward to Sunday night RGV Oakland. I think Oakland is better than what they showed this past weekend, and I really want to see what RGV can do.
Well, I don't think Oakland showed bad. Like, they got beat by the flukiest of goals. Otherwise, they're right there in it at the end. And so I think they showed out pretty good. RGV had a 1-1 draw with Vegas on Sunday of last week. And we know going to HEB Park in the Rio Grande Valley in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
It is just a tough place to go. So Oakland might come out of this, 0-2, or maybe with a draw in there at least. But I still wouldn't count Oakland out from competing for a playoff spot, even if that's the case, because they kind of get, going up against San Antonio to start, and then having to travel to RGV. It isn't the best draw to start a season for them. So that is a good shout there.
Yeah, it's there's a lot to watch. I mean, there really is. There's a lot to watch, a lot going on. A lot of storylines are going to be developing here in the coming weeks. Rachel, we do appreciate you hanging out with us tonight, and we will talk to you soon. But yeah, I mean, it's really just looking forward to Saturday. New Mexico United getting their season underway, and I mean, obviously that's going to be the number one match on our radars. Every single week, United whenever they're up. So
it is nice though that it's at 5, like I mentioned earlier, because then that leaves you with your whole evening basically to watch the West Coast games, and even El Paso, Detroit City starts 2.5 hours later. You can flip over right at the end of ours and catch the end of the Switchbacks Hartford match. So that'll be nice to be able to get our match out of the way, and then if it doesn't go our way, I'll be able to watch other soccer and kind of get my mind off it. And if it does go our way, then I can watch other soccer, knowing that we have 3 points and not care about the results of the other matches as much. So definitely looking forward to that. And like you mentioned earlier, after that match, about 30 minutes after the final whistle, we will be coming on for a short little 20-30 minute instant reaction pod / video. And then you can catch us obviously on Tuesday with our full show. And we actually have a surprise for you. Next Tuesday, we will have Coach Zach Prince joining us for at least the first little bit of that podcast on Tuesday night. So you won't want to miss that. And so, yeah, guys, like we mentioned, a ton of content this season. We're going to have, two podcasts a week, two live videos when we have the away matches. And we're going to try to get you, Zach coming on next week for sure. And then try to get you some players throughout the season. And I'm really looking forward to what the season brings, both for United on the pitch and off for the community, obviously, with as good as a job they do there, but also with what we can add to our content list and what we can bring you. And even though I'm going to be tied up for half the season with the police academy and going through that law enforcement academy, because I'm not going to be a cop, kind of, it's complicated. And so, but I still plan on contributing, and I'll still be watching all the matches, obviously, and going from there. And hopefully I'll be writing a little bit more. In fact, I have a few articles that I have written that I just need to go over one more time and then get them on the website and send out links to those on our social media. And then might be doing some videos about those articles as well. So definitely looking to do a lot more this year. And this USL season already started off pretty excitingly, except for there were, I believe, 5 1-1 draws, just a ridiculous amount. I know when I checked the scores early on Saturday, it was 3-1 the first match with Loudoun and Memphis, and then there were like 4 1-1 draws following that. And so not a lot of scoring in the early slate there, but still exciting. See how people look to start this season and go from there.
Yeah, it's definitely. We can't say enough. Like there were no scoreless matches week 1.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting season. Lots of content coming your way. So like, stick with us. We're going to be bringing you guys as much as we possibly can this year. Written video. We're going to do live stuff at the stadium. Like Jacob said, we're going to have Coach Zach Prince on with us next week live. So if you're, be sure to pop in the chat. I can't guarantee we'll be able to get to all your questions and comments, but we'll do our best to try to get at least some of them in there to Coach Zach. Hopefully talking about a win. But yeah, just stick with us, guys. It's going to be a long season. There's a lot to look forward to. So, Jacob, unless you've got something else, I think it is time to get us out of here.
I just wanted to touch just real quick on, we are a United podcast. Obviously, we talk USL. Every once in a while, we bring up MLS though, and we got CONCACAF Champions League going on right now. We saw Philadelphia advance. We saw Austin not advance, much to Harry's delight over there. But the regular season for MLS, it's a few weeks old now. How's Atlanta looking? Have you been following them?
Hey, we're doing good. We're doing well. Come from behind win a couple weeks ago. Another convincing win the other day. So yeah,
I know Caleb Wiley, young player for you guys, came in and had a pretty impactful match this last week with 2 goals and assist, which is always exciting.
Yeah, he's looked really good.
Really, this was just to tee me up talking about LAFC for a minute. Yeah, you know who.
I'm sorry, who?
The team that you guys wish you were. Is how I'll
sir, we have more points than you do at this point. Yeah,
because LAFC's played 2 matches.
Yeah.
And they've won 4-0 and 3-0, or 3-2 and 4-0. So, and they have a 3-0 shellacking in the Champions League on the road. So they're looking really good. I'm just excited for soccer in general. So that's been nice to watch those games when I can. So yeah, I'm just want to touch base there. I know if Earl was on, he'd talk about Nashville. They're looking pretty strong too. They're not very fun to watch because of their style of play, but they are looking strong. Meanwhile, both of our teams are actually fun to watch and good. So
yeah, they are.
And so yeah, I just want to touch base there, and then that's about it. So we've said it a few times. Rapids fan over in the chat, John. I'm sorry. I like the Rapids. I've always kind of liked them. I remember watching them, years ago when it was just the local broadcasts that we could get when I was up in Albuquerque and stuff. So I do root for them. They're not doing fantastic at the moment, but hey, we'll see if they can turn it around. But as we've mentioned a couple times, you don't have to wait till Tuesday to hear us spew our nonsense. You can catch us Saturday, 30 minutes after final whistle, for an instant reaction show. And then, like we said, next Tuesday, 9:00, right here, it'll be the 2 of us, probably Earl and Zach Prince, for at least the first 30 minutes or so of the pod. We'll be able to pick his brain on his thoughts of the Miami game. Looking forward to a couple weeks from there, their match against whoever we play, Oakland. And then also his kind of outlook on the the preseason, off-season moves, and looking forward to the rest of the season. So be sure to catch that one. It's going to be a good one. We had him on at the beginning of the season last year. He gave us a ton of great stuff until Earl and Sombrero Man ruined it with forehead jokes. But I guarantee you, if that happens this time, I will kick Earl off the stream. I will block Sombrero Man in the chat, and we will keep this as football centric as we can. So you won't want to miss that. And then again, be on the lookout for a couple articles coming up this week. Hopefully, I think I can get all 3 of them out before the match on Saturday. And until Saturday, that's going to be weird getting used to saying. Until Saturday, Somos de News, guys.